Good morning, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. We are going to do a different time of stream today. And part of that stream that we're going to be doing today is going over the brand new S.H.MonsterArts King Ghidorah 1972 figure. Yay, it is finally out. This was solicited all the way a while ago, and it's been about a little over 6 months. So we're finally going to get a good look at it. We're going to take a look at some photos, and we're just going to talk about it. I don't anticipate the stream to be too long. This is just going to be something that we're just going to go through and just check out the high-res promo pictures provided by Tamashii Nations. And we are going to zoom in. We're going to take a look at those details and everything, answer some questions that, need some answering. I'll try my best to answer those questions if you guys have them in the comments. But we will go ahead and get into it right now without further ado. We are currently looking at my website, the Articulation Series. If you go to the upcoming pages, you guys can actually go there right now. It's live, so if you want to follow along while we're watching the video, that's cool. You're welcome to do so. You can get a good close look at yourself. But to access this, you have to go to the upcoming pages. So depending on what device you are on, if you're on your desktop, you're going to have to go to the bottom and click on upcoming releases. If you're on a mobile device, you'll be able to click the hamburger icon up here, and you can click on the upcoming button. But this is our upcoming releases pages. If you guys ever wondered, these figures are out in Japan. Some of them are released in Japan, like Gamera and Anguirus and the Godzilla 2004 reissue, as well as the Mecha Godzilla Final Battle version. And the reason why they're still upcoming here is mainly because they're not out in the United States yet. So most of the people that come view the website, they're other folks that are Western speakers, mostly in the United States. So we leave them up there until they're actually taken down, until they're released, I should say. So without further ado, if you just scroll over towards the end, you'll see that the King Ghidorah 1972 has been updated. You guys can go ahead and click on that right there. Let's just kind of go over some quick details right here. King Ghidorah 1972. It is a premium Bandai Webshop exclusive. It releases in Japan sometime in November 2025. Usually towards the end of the month is when we'll see that happen. The USA release date is scheduled for December 2025. The Japanese MSRP with tax is 30,800 yen. And the US price has yet to be determined, and we'll go into more about what our estimates look like that. But let's go ahead and read this next part. The long-awaited King Ghidorah 1972 from Godzilla vs. Gigan 1972 is now available in the S.H.MonsterArts line. The sculpture and coloring are recaptured by Yuji Sakai, leading figure in Godzilla modeling. The suit from 1972 is thoroughly reproduced based on various production reference materials of the time. The shape of King Ghidorah's scales are also carefully crafted one by one with great attention to detail. The joints of the neck and tail are fully articulated and have excellent flexibility, allowing for various poses. In addition, by displaying it together with S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla 1972, you can recreate battle scenes from the movie. Yeah, so from here, you guys can go ahead and click on that, and it will take you to the page. And we'll take just some quick looks at all this stuff. You guys are welcome to follow along on this page, but I will be using a different area, just a photo gallery on Windows, just to take a closer look at these photos, because there are some limitations on the website. But yeah, so a little Easter egg, if you guys have never noticed this, if you ever go onto the page, whether you're on a mobile or a desktop, if you actually click on this part right here, you get the roar sound effect. Isn't that neat? It happens for most of these characters, not so much of the Monster Hunter characters or Yu-Gi-Oh characters, but for Gamera and Godzilla, you can always count on those roars being there. So that's a little fun feature that I did. But you'll be able to click on any of these right here. If you don't like these thumbnails in the way, you can just hit that. It makes it go away. But yeah, so let's just kind of go through it really quick on the site, and then we're going to go into the photo gallery on my Windows computer to take a closer look. yeah, take a look at this. So this figure stands at 9.8 inches tall, so that is the same height. That's going to be the same height as the Heisei Ghidorah that's out there. So if you were worried that this was going to be scaled down like some of the past figures, it's not going to be doing that. It's gonna be standing just as tall as our Heisei boy. There's our front shot. It's almost like he's dabbing in a way, right? It's a silly pose, but it's fun. Terrific sculpt details too on that. I really like how those scales just kind of flare out. It's a really nice shot of the close-up of the heads too. Right here you guys can see those eye details. It does something to remember when you see these prototypes. They're resin prototypes and they're hand painted by in this case Yuji Sakai. He did the sculpture and he did the color, master color for this, so he did this all by hand. But when it goes into the factory, we will have to wait and see if it's actually going to be dot matrix or if they're going to go with decals. I'd like to hope that these are going to be decals because these are giant big pupils and everything, and the eye space is pretty large on this figure, so I think it would benefit from that and have that little glassy look too. And we have this nice, got this nice still of King Ghidorah's neck being bent backwards just like in the movie right there. Actually, you know what's funny is that this is actually more of a reference, I feel like, to Destroy All Monsters, where this first happened. I actually don't remember if this happened in... I think it did. Yes, it did happen in that. In Gigan. So, but yeah, so this is just showing you the range of those necks right there. And then we have an action shot of it flying, which is pretty cool, right? And we'll get into about the accessories on this figure. We'll discuss all that kind of stuff. Don't worry. We won't forget about that. And then we got a big master shot right here. This could be the box shot. We don't know. Sometimes they use these big final shots. Sometimes they don't. But it is looking pretty fierce. It is looking fierce. And then, of course, our last shot is basically a mock-up of the poster using the figures, which is pretty darn cool. They did some extra Photoshop work, of course, on this. It's a very stylized poster, so they made the characters, like Godzilla is not this green, and they did outlines on everybody too. So, but it's trying to replicate that poster art. So. Yeah, that's our photos right there on the website right there. If you guys would like to download them, you can just click this download all images button. It'll take you to that website right there. Pre-orders, let's talk about that. Pre-orders go live tomorrow, or today, if you're in the United States. It'll be later today at midnight, believe it or not. Pacific Standard, or Pacific Daylight Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that means it's not gonna go live for pre-order until 3 a.m. But here's the thing. This is a Bandai Premium exclusive. It's a web exclusive, which means that in Japan, if you live in Japan, you can only order it from the Premium Bandai website. However, if you live in the United States or anywhere else in the globe, there are middleman services, retailers out there in Japan that will buy this on your behalf and ship it to you. And usually they go a little bit higher than MSRP to make a little bit of money off of the product. So, for example, this is 30,800 yen. Each retailer kind of has their own different rates, but it can be as low as 2,000 additional yen or as high as an additional 5,000 yen just for their services right there. So, but here's a little secret. Even though technically it's not open for pre-order right now, if you click on the cart icon right here, I've already updated it. There are several retailers that do now have it listed, and you will be able to order it right now. You can secure an order if you want to import it. Just a fair warning though, if you import it yourself, the shipping is going to be quite expensive. It is a very large figure, which means it's going to come in a very large box. So, you know, if you went with yen to USD conversion directly, it's about $212. But you're going to get hit with about a shipping charge of $70 to $90, maybe even more than that, depending on which service you use. So at the end of the day, you're probably looking at maybe spending about $280 to $300 on your import if you decide to do that. But let's go ahead and check out some of these other websites. So for example, you can go ahead and get this from here. I know that these guys charge 70,000 yen flat, no matter what product this is. So just be aware of that. That's going to be 32,990 plus that 70,000 yen. It might even be more. You have to go through the checkout process. But these guys, they're great. Big in Japan is great. They're just a little bit more on the expensive importing side. Anime Export is also fantastic. They also have theirs up for 32,800 yen. They do not charge shipping until the item gets there. So you will only pay for the price of the item for the first part. You will pay later. Once when they receive it, they'll send you a separate invoice. Hobby Genki is a fantastic one right here. They are not live at the moment though. They will be going live when Bandai says the product will go on sale. So that'll be midnight PDT. And it looks like they're gonna be selling it for 33,750. So you see how I was saying it fluctuates. Some places will charge 32, but these guys might charge less in shipping costs. So it just kind of might balance out. And then we have Kurama Toys. Now these guys, they don't sell their product in yen. It's always in USD. So this is why, and they again, like I said, they're middlemaning. If you did direct conversion, it's $212. But they're going to charge you $247 plus shipping on top of that. So it's going to trickle up to that 300 to 300. I would imagine that this would be a 325 purchase from this website right here. They sometimes give you the option. Okay, so they're doing a shipping pay later. It looks like shipping is pay later. So you're not going to know what the shipping cost is going to be until actually it arrives. So you only be paying for the item up front on this website. We also have Yuyaku Now. Wow, that was a tongue twister when you're tired. So they're charging a little bit more. 34, 190, 235 is the exchange rate right there. These guys also don't charge you. They will also charge you shipping later. So just be aware of that. And then we have Premium Luna Park. These guys, they're charging a little bit more for everything, but the shipping rate is actually a lot less for this figure. So, like I said, it kind of balances out a little bit. So, yeah. So that's that. US retailers coming soon. Maybe next week. It could happen today. We'll see what happens, but I have a feeling that it won't be until next week until we see that go up. As far as accessories go, we didn't mention that in the initial solicitation information, and that is because this figure does not come with any accessories, unfortunately. That there is no flight stand, there's no beam effects. You're just getting the figure itself for this price. So before we move on to the photo session where we zoom in on everything, let's just acknowledge some people in the chat right here. All right, Godzilla, Tiga, Cyclone, Joker, Extreme, morning. Hey, morning, man. Yeah, it's morning for me too. It is currently 6:16 a.m. where I'm at right now. Robo Lizard, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming, stopping by, saying hi. Yojira YouTube, YT, hi, welcome. Nuckno says, but it's afternoon. Well, not where I'm at, but that's also why I started the stream saying good morning and good evening. Oh, you know what? I left out the afternoon. You're right. I didn't say the afternoon. I didn't mean to leave you out, I promise. Irritated Lizard, How's it going, Tass? Big fan of your work. Are you gonna get 4 of these guys? You want to hear something crazy? I'm getting 6 of these guys. I'm not getting 4. I'm getting 6 of these guys. And I'll tell you why. The reason why I'm picking up 6 of these is because of the current tariff and de minimis rules that are out there. If I were to buy 4 of these figures, the total cost for the figures would be over $800, which means I'm going to get slapped with duties and fees coming into the US. So I would be paying an additional 30% on top of those 4 figures, and that is massively expensive. So in order to save costs, I have to actually order 2 sets of 3 to keep the cost of the figure down, so that when I sell them later to everybody after the stream, it's not an exorbitant price. It's not going to be over $300. If my calculations are correct, it should be well within the $270, $280 range, maybe even the $290 range if everything works out. So, but I am going to be picking up 6 of these. If anybody is interested in jumping in right away, I'm only going to be opening up 4 of them. One of them has already been claimed for the unopened. There's 1 more unopened that hasn't been claimed, but you'll have to DM me if you're interested in that. Hi, Frosthack, $2.95. Hello. Super Mario Zilla, thank you. Heyo, he says, heyo. Welcome, sir. Hashtag drop Ghidorah? I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess it's dropping Ghidorah. I'm not sure. If it's Young Sling, I don't know. I'm an older man. Geo12. Hello, guys. Hey, welcome. Welcome, man. There's Euro YouTube. I wonder if you can show us all the prototype figures one day. You know, I don't know what you're really asking for. Like, if I can show you, like, all the prototypes that were, like, in hand, I can't do that because I don't live in Japan, so I'm not able to do that. I can only show photos of the prototypes. Unlike, Shrimp says, unlike Shibo, I am going to have to get this, LOL. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to get this. You know, despite what you might see online, you have the initial jerk reaction where you have people going in there. It's the sticker shock of the price. But here's the thing, the people that don't go online and talk about these things, that are just, that are in social circles, these are the folks that are going out and buying this stuff up. It's going great, man. I'm really tired. I've been working on various projects and everything, so after I do this stream, I am knocking out. Thanks for asking. Super Mario Zilla. Unfortunately, the completionist I am now is practically forcing me to get this despite the price. Well, Super Mario Zilla, I don't know if you heard me a second ago, but I am bringing over 6 of these through my variants services, my variants program. So if you are interested in picking one of those up from me and having me ship it to you, I promise you will be spending a lot less than US MSRP if you decide to go that route. Here's your YouTube, thanks for the info. Okay, here's your YouTube. I have to tell you, I'm not Bandai, but I thank you for your support. Shrimp, since this is probably the last thing SHMA. Okay, I was gonna say I don't understand that, but thank you for clarifying. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pull up the slideshow photos now. So these are high-res, super high-res photos that are provided through Tamashii Nations. They send these over here to me when promo is gone through and everything. So we're gonna just take a really, really nice close-up look at this. So here we are, check it out. And we're gonna go through each photo doing it this way. You know what's interesting is what I'm seeing, and I don't know if it's shadows being casted, but it looks like the mane has a little bit of brown right here. But it looks quite gold by comparison, which I think if you've looked at anybody who has owned the bootleg version of the 1964 Ghidorah that was released on AliExpress all those years back, that a lot of people that went out to do customs made it very a clear choice to paint these manes that color of brown. So it's interesting that they decided to just keep it gold on this. But remember, these eyes, these are hand painted by Yuji Sakai. These aren't decals, they're not Dom Matrix, so they're going to be different when it comes to mass production. So we'll have to see what that looks like. As far as articulation goes, though, it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's about 13 to 14 points of articulation. I can't really see it because it's covered up right there, but the teeth look great. Remember that this is a resin prototype, so when we get our mass production version, these little sharp teeth, they're probably going to be more like nubs. But they do look good on this right here. Let's go in down a little bit there. Yeah, oh, I just really like this right here. Look at the way that it just kind of flares out like this. That's really cool. I like that. It kind of works for this model too, because this model, it's not as clean as Heisei Ghidorah, right? Heisei Ghidorah is very sharp and very uniform, but this is just like, I think it does a really good job at replicating the suit, where it's just, you know, feathers that are just, not feathers, but scales that are just basically glued on, and they're just kind of loosely hanging there. So it kind of gives that sense of realism to the character. Let's look at the wings really quick before we get too further down. So the wings, these wings definitely replicate the way that they looked in the 1972 film. I think that they used these wings in 1968 as well, because that's when the suit had some augmentations done to it because of how beat up it was. But man, look at that. It's nice and sharp at the end like that. It's amazing that they're able to sculpt it to make it look like it's that membrane cloth material, but it's just hard plastic. It looks like there's some minor shading. You know what? I can't really tell, honestly, off the top. It does look like there's a little bit of bronzing throughout this right here as far as the weathering and shading goes, but it could just be shadows. But you see right here, this is some weathering detail that's going to be there. So in mass production, there might be some weathering going on right there. Yeah, this is very much 1972, the way that this is done. If you look at the 1964 King Ghidorah, all of this right here does not exist. It doesn't look like that. It's not that big, and yeah, it looks a lot cleaner in my opinion on the 64. Let's look at the feet and the legs right here. So oh, this is kind of cool. You know what? So you have articulation right here at the top, and then there's another point of articulation right here, and then the torso. So that's the 3 points right there. You got 1, 2, well, yeah, so 2 points of articulation, I guess, right? But there's 3 pieces total, so that's really neat. And then we have our standard leg articulation. Looks like you've got a floating sheath on the back right there. Here's typical knee joint pattern. Feet look good. Let's keep looking at the tail here. Tail looks good too. It looks like there's some brown weathering details on the edges of these. I think that works quite well. On my bootleg 1964 Ghidorah that I have, I actually painted the tail parts, these parts right here, all brown. So I think this looks good though. All right, before I get on to the next slide, I'll answer some questions. Just wondering why we haven't gotten many S.H. Monster Godzilla figures reveals this year. I mean, we've got a fair amount so far. The year's not over with though. We still got, you know, November and in December that they're working on still. So November's not complete yet. They're just doing web exclusives right now. There's still general releases to go, and then we have December. We also have San Diego Comic-Con, so keep your eyes out for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but besides the wings, is the sculpt identical or at least similar to the bootleg? I haven't had a moment to really sit down with the bootleg to take a look at it, but if it is using parts that were from the bootleg, here's the thing. When that bootleg first came out, there were certain groups out there, not everybody, but there were certain groups saying, well, it's not by Bandai, it's a third-party figure. So, but if you looked at it, come on, it was definitely a MonsterArts figure that was stolen and copied and pasted or whatever. And if that is the case, the parts of this body could be retooled. I mean, it's possible, but I need to take a better look at it. I can tell you for sure, even if they did do it, the mane and the head is definitely different from the bootleg. The upper torso looks like it's been retooled as well, especially towards the top chest part right here. I don't remember if the bootleg has this cut off the top of my head. I'll have to take another look at it, but I don't remember this cut being on that. Because I remember the body, I think it's just the top part, and then the bottom part was one solid piece on the bootleg. And then I think the feet looked pretty similar though. I just need to take another closer look. But the wings are 100% different. It's a whole new sculpt right there. And then as far as the tails go, again, I need to take another closer look. It's just so hard to tell based off of some photos. Shrimp, are you getting the Mecha G Final Battle figure soon? Yes, the 4 variants comparisons just shipped earlier this evening from last night. So that means that they're gonna be here maybe tomorrow. And if that's the case, we'll be doing an unboxing stream this weekend with that. So if not, we'll have to wait until Monday to do it. King of Mars, I'm gonna have to read it because you got cut off a little bit here, but it says, I'll just buy it in a local store in my country, Poland. I'll wait a bit longer for the premiere, but I'll pay less than if I imported it from the States or Japan. I mean, you do you, man. If it's gonna be cheaper there, just remember it's a premium website, a premium Bandai web exclusive, so some countries out there don't get those. So just double check where you're gonna get it from. What a video to wake up to. Oh, you don't like it? I hope you did. Okay, I'm gonna assume that you like it. We're trying something new. Because normally I just kind of throw these on the website and then I let you guys all take a look at it, but I figured I'd break it down with you, hash it out. So, Godzilla Tika Cycle and Joker Extreme. Mecha Godzilla 1975 coming soon on S.H.MonsterArts. Hey man, that's my favorite character, so I'm crossing my fingers. Good figure. I'll buy it when it comes out. Yeah, we'll get into the US pricing a little bit later. That's gonna be a scary topic right there though. Super Mario Zero. I'm sitting with the bootleg right now, actually. I can confirm it doesn't have that cut in the waist. Oh, thank you for doing that, Super Mario. Zilla. Thank you for that. Yeah, so there's definitely that cut. So that's a new cut right there. Cool. That would be great because that means you can get some more ab crunch out of that. So, British Raptor. The only Godzilla figures that I have, the only Godzilla figures that have been revealed so far is Godzilla 2000 and King Ghidorah, and we already have halfway through the year. I see, you were talking about specifically Godzilla figure, not just the S.H. MonsterArts line as a whole. You know, if we go to there's a little cool thing on my website. If you go here, it's called My Collection, and it just kind of sums up the current releases for the year right now. So this is what you've got. As far as Godzilla figures that were released this year, we had Shimo, you had Tsuko Mothra set, you had Anguirus, Mechagodzilla, Godzilla 1995, and then you got Godzilla 2000 and now King Ghidorah. So that's 7 figures. That's pretty respectable, actually, for 2025. That's a lot. And then the rest of the line, you know, fill it in the blanks with the Furious Rajang. And you also have the Dark Magician, Stardust Dragon, and Legion in there. So, and we still got 2 more months of solicitation. So there's definitely more than just 2 Godzilla figures that came out this year, though. There's definitely a lot more. Oh, and for anybody that's wanting to know what this is a collection spreadsheet. If you ever navigate to this page, if you want to keep track of your collection, I'll run through it really, really quick. If you go here, there's instructions on how to use this whole spreadsheet, and you can keep your collection on the go in your pocket. Just read these instructions right here, and from here you can select whether you own it, whether you're looking for it for sale. There's different tabs down here. So say I owned, you know, these guys, I would check mark those going into owned. And then you have a looking for section, and you can screenshot these and share these with various groups, things that you're trying to sell, things that you're looking for. But it's always in Google Sheets, so it's always on the go and it's always updated and everything. And you update it yourself after you download the master copy. So there's that little PSA for that if you're interested. But let's go back to that page right there. Okay, we are going to... I like it a lot. The fig looks amazing. Yeah, he does look amazing. Just wondering, do you think this figure is worth the price compared to Shimo? You know, Shimo's a very large, big figure. This is not going to be as big as that, but there's engineering that's very unique to King Ghidorah. We'll get more into that. I'll let you know later when we talk about prices, what I think about the price. Thanks for the info, always like the content. Hey, thanks, British Raptor, I appreciate it, man. Shrimp says, I feel like I can't decide what SHMA figure I really want. Like the 270th anniversary figures, Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, and this figure. I mean, choices, man. Choices, choices, choices. If you're in the United States, though, you got time to make some choices. If you're in Japan or any other parts of the world, you have a limited amount of time, because once the Bandai Premium orders cancel or close, that's it. You're out of luck. Okay, we're gonna get back to this, guys. So here's our front shot of the figure. Let's take a closer look. Man, those eyes. Great googly moogly. Yeah, I really hope that they go decal with this. I really do. Yeah, I just really like, I mean, it's very consistent. Like, these scales are all jutting out like that. I really like that. The mouth is a nice bloody color too. Oops, sorry. Let me get back there. The wings look good from this side. I don't think there's actually any shading on the wings now that I'm seeing it from the front. I think it's just lighting effects, and that's what's playing into weathering details. It's just shadows. I think it's just shadows. I think there's some weathering details towards the end right here, but that's kind of it. Man, it looks really good though. It really does. And you know what's funny is I am not a fan of this particular suit of King Ghidorah. I much rather this 1964 version. The 72 version I thought it had no muscle definition and anything. And I think that's what Yuji Sakai is so good at, is that he doesn't follow the suit accuracy code, whatever you want to call it. He aims to make these creatures as if they were real life creatures. That's part of his stylization. Front of the figures look good too. Tails, see, there's definitely some weathering details on the edges, and I think that's really cool on the tail. that's the front side. And then we got our dabbing side. Look at that. I love the little details right here. These little horns on the front. The mane, this is an all new mane. If they did any retooling, I mean, this is a whole brand new thing. This isn't like a simple retool, like where you're just moving things around. Like, this is brand new. Let's look at the other heads here. Yeah, and right off the bat too, if you look at the wings, if you owned the bootleg 1964 figure, it doesn't have a sheath, and it doesn't have this extra sculpt details on it either in the bootleg, but it doesn't have this sheath right here. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to do the wing articulation. Hopefully it is not a repeat of the 1991 Heisei Ghidorah. The first release of that had its issues, but they kind of corrected that with the the SCV version, the special color version. Look at that, it does look like the manes do have some dry brushing effects on there. Even on the horns, it looks like there's some dry brushing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to translate in mass production. Oh, the wings are so cool. I really like them. Wow. Let's look down here at the bottom here. Looks good down there too. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in even further. You can see that there's definitely that detailing on that. So let's zoom in right there too. We can get a good look at that. So that's the back of that tail right there. Yes, it does, absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one there. I'll answer some questions really quick. Will you plan on getting and reviewing the Godzilla 2000 figure when it comes out? Yes, I do have 6 of those as well on the way. That was before the whole tariff thing kind of went into play, so I'm hoping that I do not get bit in the butt on that right there, but there were some people that had hit me up prior and they wanted the early copies of it, so I picked up a couple extras for them. Figure main show, welcome sir. Boom, he says, boom baby. A little Cusco energy here. Amy, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Daniel says, I was wondering how Bandai would tweak the design for this figure, as the suit was pretty beaten up in the movie. Yeah, the suit, I wasn't impressed with the suit. It was so, like, the chest was really flat, and there was just hardly any muscular definition in a lot of shots of that. So I'm glad that they added a little bit of extra features into it. Oh god, the last thing we need is a repeat of the double hinged wing system that breaks easily. Yes. I don't want them to do it. I really don't. So we'll just have to see what happens and cross our fingers. This will be at San Diego Comic-Con, so I'm going to try and get a really good close look at that for you guys. We'll see. It just depends on how they have it displayed. Last year, they had all the Godzilla stuff in one giant display case, and I had no access to it, so it would take too much to get into it. So hopefully this year they'll be in more portable units. It absolutely looks gorgeous. Yes, it does. Okay, let's get back to this. So this figure, this shot right here is really cool because we can really get in close to these details. Wow. Look at that. That's just, yeah. I really want the teeth to look like this, but I just know it's not going to happen because of mass production. They're just going to turn into little nubs. it looks good. It looks good here. You see, when you get really zoomed in on this, you can really see that how Yuji Sakai, this is a hand-painted master, because we have, you know, these little streaks right here, they would not exist on the mass production like that. Those are paint brush strokes like that, and this is probably going to be dyed in airbrush the way that they do it. And there's a little chip right here at the top as well. Yeah, it's imperfect, but that's because it's a resin prototype, you know. Dang. Yeah, you can see the resin through parts. There it is, guys. This is the face you don't want to wake up next to. Yeah. This looks like a... Okay, you know what? That's part of the sheath, actually. It's not new. I mean, it is new, but I think I already covered it. This is really cool, though. Shout out to Bandai for sending these to us so that we can take a close look together. Yeah, look at that. Jeez. Very cool. Let's see the next one. Ah, yes. Let's answer some questions really quick. Godzilla 2024 RP. Hey, thanks. Hi. Nice seeing you too. Are you excited for SDCC? I think I heard Kyle was going to. Yes, actually, me and Kyle are actually going to be bunking it up over there. We're going to be renting a room out that way together. So we'll be doing almost kind of dual coverage. So, but yeah, we are going to be there together. So it'll be great. These, the necks are nuts. I think no other Ghidorah's feeder can bend backwards that far. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Heisei one doesn't bend that much either. So it's definitely, it's something unique to this mold. I'm the real Godzilla. Oh shoot, dude. I need to run away and get my stuff and take my cats with me. And then I'll take some photos of them, because I love Godzilla. The neck articulation looks all new. I gotta take another look at the old bootleg that's out there, but it does look, if it definitely looks like the engineering's definitely increased. Goofy. Love it. I can only imagine the patience you need when photographing and posing resin prototypes. Yes, I have worked with resin prototypes as well as Mike's Monsters. He's also worked with them. They are a pain in the ass to work with. They look good, but they pose so horribly because they're not designed specifically for joint tolerance. That's why when we go to events, you see a lot of the time they're held in with glue or sticky or tacky tape or putty, because they're very smooth. That's the issue. Plastic has, you know, a texture to it and it has some grip. And then the sockets are made out of a different kind of plastic material, and that helps with that grip. But when you deal with resin prototypes, they don't use any plastic. It's just resin within resin. And when you move those joints, it's grinding the resin down. So that's why they get the best poses during their first time doing photography right here. But then after that, at the events, it just gets worse as they pose it. King of Mars says, this may not be related to this Ghidorah, but I hope that in the future, S.H.MonsterArts will release a new version of Kiryu 2003 along with Godzilla 2003. Hey man, it's possible. Absolutely possible. Hasn't happened yet, it's possible. Is that the same mold as the bootleg? So I gotta take a closer look at it, and you know, I'll get back to everybody later on this issue if it's 100% or uses parts from the older bootleg. It may or may not. I just need to take a closer look. Yes. Yes, so that's there's two parts of the chest right here. If we look at that, yes, there you have this top part right here, and then there's another cut right here at the abdomen. So you got 2 points of movement right there. So this will be able to bend over. It'll be really cool. Yep, exactly. You have a cat? I recently got one. He's pretty chill. I have 2 cats, and they're both male. One is a snowshoe, and the other is a black tabby. And they hate each other because they're both males, so they have to be constantly separated into other rooms. But we're not here to talk about my cats. We're here to talk about three-headed monsters. Not that I'm complaining, but do we have any guesses as to why there aren't any gravity beams with the figure? Would the price increase too much? I mean, the price that you're seeing right now for this is the price without beam effects and all that, you know? This is just what it costs for them to make it in Japan, unfortunately, and to make profit off of it as well. But yeah, we'll get more into price in just a bit about that. As far as accessories goes, S.H.MonsterArts has been clear with me a couple times, and even in my past interviews, most recent interviews, I should say, that the strategy is to release a figure as a base figure first, and then when they do decisive battle variants or special color versions, that's when they're going to include the extras. So I know that some people just want everything the first time around, but this is a business and they want to release more versions of these characters to make that income. So that is just the current strategy. So if you're hoping for gravity beams, there could be a future version of this character with gravity beams, but for now, that is just kind of the way it is with MonsterArts, is that the base figure forms usually aren't going to come with a lot of accessories, if any at all. The only way they'll come with accessories is if they're integral to the character. This is what they've shared with me. They have to be integral to the character and its design and its function. That's why with a lot of mecha units, you do see some accessories in them for the first time, like alternate hands or the beam effect. You know, those are very integral to those type of characters because of the mechanical design. Gamma figures, it's the same thing. Gamma transforms into its flight form. So those parts are very important to include the first time around because those are integral to the character. For Godzilla, you know, the beam, you could argue that it's integral to the character because a beam effect is one of its signature moves, but in the way that they approach it though, they would rather do, and this isn't just them, this is also Toho. Toho steps in here. Toho doesn't want them to do figures, base figures with beams anymore. They want them to do heat rate versions of them now. So it's changed a little bit over time. They should also make Showa Mothra and Rodan and Mechagodzilla 75. Yo, that Showa Mothra is gonna be huge. I don't know if you know the stats about that, but that is a giant moth. It's huge. Gotcha, I appreciate it. Still looking forward to nabbing this guy. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm here to enlighten and inform. Okay, so let's look at this crazy photo here. Look at that neck bend. Holy smokes. And they're all lined up just like that. That's incredible. That's so cool. I definitely have a shot in mind for this moment right here. Definitely. Very cool. There's the tail over there. Very cool. I was doing a double take on those Godzilla hands. I was like, wait a minute, did they always look like that? Yeah, I think they did. It's just my brain playing tricks on me. Very cool. This pose is dope. Let's take a look at the next one. Ah, the flight. Good old flight pose, yes. Unfortunately, this figure will not be coming with a flight stand, but I'm going to make some recommendations for everybody to for a stand that you guys can use that's purchasable. Right now on their website for Tamashii Nations, they're recommending that you use the Tamashii humanoid axe stands. Don't do that. They're very lightweight, and this is probably going to be quite a hefty figure, especially with these wings right here. So I will give you guys some recommendations of what kind of stands you guys can buy. So stand by for that. I'll give it to you eventually. But let's look at this flight pose. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Whoa. I just love this. Even though it's a figure, the design, I'm not a fan of this particular design. I think that Sakai really made it look good. I love that bend on the tail too. Oh, yeah. It looks great. Credit where credit's due, man. These wings look phenomenal. I just hope that the function right here is not going to be that double jointed system. The reason why the 1991 had a double jointed system was because you weren't only just able to flap up and down, you were able to actually lift the wings back and forth. You were able to tilt them, and that's why that hinge system was put into place right there. They offered a great amount of range. The problem was that after some time those wings started to sag because the joint was not a strong plastic, and then some copies they just broke out of the box because of how weak that joint was. They used a stronger plastic in the special color version though, and I don't think I ever read any reports of anybody's wings breaking from that. So, but that's our flight mode right there. Let's take a look at this one. We're nearing the end of our stream right here, so we're just gonna take a look at these last two photos. You know what? Maybe I'll do one more bonus shot of everything. Oh, these just look so cool. I think there is some black wash within this. I think they're gold with a little bit of a black wash. Wow. Very cool. And then lastly, our poster photo. So again, this shot right here is everything here is photoshopped. So Oh yeah, I don't think we actually saw this look. Look at, that's the front angle right there of the head. Super goofy. It definitely fits the 72 aesthetic, that's for sure. Very cool. So let's go back over to the website really quick and let's just kind of talk about pricing. Okay, so before we get into that, let me just answer these other two questions right here. Out of curiosity, I checked, and it turns out that the Mothra 61 canonically has a wingspan of 250 meters. Yo, I didn't even know you were talking about that Mothra. I thought you were talking about Mothra versus Godzilla, but yeah, that one is even, from my understanding, that one is even larger. The music playing in the stream is glad that you enjoy it. Okay, let's talk about price, guys. Okay, the elephant in the room, the price tag, 30,800 yen. This is actually more expensive than Mecha King Ghidorah. It's more expensive than King Ghidorah 2019, and there's so many different factors that are going into this. So I just kind of want to break down some of these factors for anybody that wants to know why these things get priced the way that they are, especially in today's day and age. You know, when the line, a little bit of a history lesson, when this line debuted all the way back in 2012, this was during a time when the yen was a lot stronger. And just even to show you an example of this, if we go to the very first Godzilla, its MSRP was, you know, the yen was so strong that it was listed at 57.75, and it was more MSRP in the US. That's how strong the yen was at the time. And it was like this pretty much all the way through 2014. And then that's when the yen started to tank. So if we go all the way up here to the Godzilla 2014 figure, you know, it's reversed now. US MSRP is now lower than the Japanese MSRP. And if you go even further along, there's more evidence that the yen just continues to tank. So let's click on, you know, let's go to Biollante. Biollante, 30, 80, 100 yen, right? 294.99. This is 2020. This is what we were accustomed to as of the pandemic when it was happening. This was the current trajectory of pricing figures. You know, it was just slightly less than the Japanese yen. And then we get into even later, you know, let's go to Shin Godzilla right here, right? Notice how the yen is even more expensive there, and you know, this is at $150. So they don't do a one-to-one exchange rate. They never have really done that when it comes to pricing these figures. If they had done that, you know, we would be spending significantly less because of currency advantage, you know, conversion advantage. But they don't do that when they import, because they have to pay to import it themselves. They have to pay tariffs and duties and stuff, and a lot of that price gets baked into US MSRP. So let's look at Final Battle Mechagodzilla. That's the most recent one, right? 18,700 yen. And it was $160. This is before the 30% tariffs came into effect. And just to give you guys an idea, like, even though in America it's only a $10 increase from the original, like, look at this. It's only a $10 increase in the United States, $150 to $160. But look how much it went up Japanese yen wise. It went from 14,850 and it jumped all the way to 18,700. But now that the tariffs have kicked our butts now, this is the new reality where you're not going to see these prices anymore. Notice how the yen is less than the price right here. If you were just doing one-to-one, right? Say this is $132, this is $114, right? If you were to look at it this way. Go to Godzilla 2000, tariffs are in, 1,200 yen, but now we're above that now. 12,000 yen, yeah, it's above it now. And that's because of the 30% tariff. This figure was originally going to be $100, but when you tack 30%, what's 30% of 100, right? It's $30. So it went up $30 because of the tariffs. So, and this kind of goes into Ghidorah. Let's go back to Ghidorah here. So if the price for this is 30,800 yen, if it's going to be this price, traditionally, this would have been maybe around $260 to $280 in the US before the 30% tariffs actually hit. But now that the 30% tariffs have hit, you know, if we just want to break it down, just so you guys can see it right here, you know, when we convert this, it's $212. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that with that. $212, right? And you just multiply that by 30%. It's $63.60. So you add that to your 212. Yeah, so that's your MSRP with currency conversion, right? But if we're going based off of the actual numbers that they're doing without currency conversion, so say this figure is a $280 figure, right? That would be $280 times, you know, 30%. So it's $84. So if you're adding, you know, 84 plus that 280, that brings that the potentially the US MSRP is $364, potentially. It's yet to be seen, but if they do a flat 30%, that's the MSRP that you're looking at. And it's an $84 tariff surcharge that's being added and baked into the price. So that's why it's so expensive here in the US. Now, if you, I mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream, if you decided that you wanted to import this yourself from Japan using any of these guys' websites right here, you know, any of these guys' services, say the US MSRP ends up being $365, I guarantee you, you will be spending less if you import it through any of these websites right here. But the problem is that there is a limit. There's a limitation to how many units these guys can get because these guys are middlemaning these figures for you. So once when they're sold out, that's it. They can't, they're out of stock. So if you're gonna go that route, you can, but otherwise you're at the mercy of the US MSRP, unfortunately. And at that point, I just say vote with your wallet. If the price is too much, don't buy it. Let it sit on shelves and wait for Amazon to discount it. That's just what you're gonna have to do if you're priced out of these figures, and if you still want them, unfortunately. So I sympathize for anyone that struggles to keep up with this line because of the price increases. The current real life situations aren't helping when it comes to domestic sales here in the United States. But, you know, if you ever plan on traveling to Japan, just know that you could buy this figure for $212. I mean, you can't because technically this is a premium Bandai figure, but if it was a general sales figure, you could go into a store and buy it for that price with American dollars. So, all right, let me pull up. I was gonna do one little special treat before I sign off right here. Oh, and as far as the worth, somebody asked me, do I think the price is worth it? I mean, having the 1991 Ghidorah and everything, I don't think it's worth the price when it comes to US MSRP. Absolutely not. It's ridiculously high if it ends up being $365. I think that if I were to get this figure, I would put maybe a $200 price tag on it, maybe to $225 max. But that's just my opinion on that. And then let's wrap up with this just last thing right here. Okay. So what I'm showing you guys here, this is actually a photo from a April Fool's prank that I did a while ago. Let me just make this. Yeah, so this is the 1964 bootleg figure. I can kind of see that there might be some similarities there, but I can also see some differences. when it comes to the body build and everything. This is a custom that I painted myself. This is actually the first figure I've ever painted in my life. I think it looks okay for what it was. Yo, hand painting these eyes was no joke, by the way. That was incredibly tough. That's right. If you are an actual legit owner of the 1991 Ghidorah, you can recycle your beams for this. You lit and staged that shot really well. I could definitely understand how anyone was duped. Oh yeah. I worked really hard to emulate this. This background right here is actually printed on 8x11 pieces of paper that I taped up together, and then I just kind of hid the seams in Photoshop to make it look good. Yorkie Films, welcome. Good morning, sir. That's our flight pose right there. And I'll bring up the other one, the new one, just so we can just do a quick comparison. So, yeah. So let me bring in the other guy here. Okay, so here's our comparison. I mean, if we zoom in and you take a look, you know, I feel like this piece is bigger. It's more rounded than this one right here. This one seems a lot smaller. Super Mario Godzilla was right. There is no cut right here on the bootleg, but there is a cut on the new one. One of the big things, obviously, these scales are also much more prominent on the official one versus the bootleg. The bootleg is very downward, I guess, smooth. Let's look at the leg articulation there. I can see how you can look at the feet and think that they're pretty similar. I do think that the ankle area, though, is a lot thinner on the bootleg than the actual. I think that it's actually shorter, too. It looks like it's shorter than this one. So I think that is a little different right there. Even the cuts right here on top of the thigh, look how this goes up, and this one's kind of just like over the knee. Even the edge parts right here, they don't match. And then when you get into the wing design, you know, the wing design is 100% different, like just a whole different wing style. And this is more true to the 1964 Ghidorah. And the heads, of course, the heads are quite different. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? We don't have any back shots. Yeah, we don't have any back shots of the Ghidorah, of the new one. Let me see. Sure, let's count up some segments right here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, we don't really have a good side view of it either. I mean, this is as good as it's gonna get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Oh shoot. Not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It is the same amount, so tail could be, it could be this similar, although it looks like, again, the detailing on the tails, it's kind of hard to tell. They might be the same, actually. Let me get back here. Very different designs. The mane on this one is just so small too. No definition really compared to the new one. Yeah, you know what, this version of Ghidorah doesn't have these little horns on the head, on the face right there. I'm looking at these parts right here, and it's so hard to tell just by looking at it if it's the same or not. You know what, this is a good set. Just looking at the side parts right here, the chest. I think it might actually be a smidge thicker on this version. It's just kind of hard to tell with these angles. But yeah, this is a good shot of the wings too. You can see the difference there. Very cool. All right, so with that being said, everybody, thanks for joining the stream today and just checking this out. I'm going to leave this up for anybody that's going to want to watch it a little bit later. Feel free to check it out. Right now you can go to the Articulation Series website. It's not set on the Godzilla page just yet. You won't be able to see King Ghidorah just there. That'll be done later today, but if you do want to access the page, you can, like I said, go to the upcoming releases page right here, and you can access it through this link right here. Just click on that and you can access it. All right, let's finish up these questions and then we're gonna roll off. I'm gonna go to bed. Looks amazing. If only Trump added taxes, tariffs. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Those eyes on 72 Ghidorah are so uncannily human, but it works out incredibly well. Yeah, super goof. Super goof is what I'm gonna call that. 100 yen for Millennium doesn't look too bad. Yeah, had it originally come out with before the tariffs, it would have been $100. Same price as Scar King. Nice job with the photo, I would believe it. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I could find a bootleg Ghidorah around, I may go that route. It'll all depend on the US pricing, if I can luck out and get a copy from a middleman. Yeah, they're out there. And you never know, somebody might be selling their bootleg now that the official is out. So check out Mercari and eBay. You probably might be able to find it there. Okay. Well, we did about a little over an hour for the stream. So again, thanks for joining us today, everybody. And for anybody that's watching this after the stream, hope you got a really good look at the figure, and hopefully those talking points I mentioned about the figure's price is a little helpful to understand where we're at with that. You don't have to like it. I don't like it, but it is where we're at right now. And the best thing you can do is just vote with your wallet. You know, if you want to get it on sale, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. We'll just see how it goes. But again, just a reminder to everybody, the pricing that I've been estimating, you know, that $365, you know, that's just an estimate based off of the 30% increase that happened to the Godzilla 2000 figure. We don't know what the MSRP for the United States is, so do stay tuned for that. We'll see what happens, okay? Cross your fingers, hope it's a lot lower than that. Hey, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Thank you for joining the stream, and hopefully we'll do more of these in the future. So this was just kind of a test. We'll see how this does after the fact, and if it does really well, I'll continue to do it. So thanks for joining it, and I promise I won't be doing it at 6 in the morning. Hopefully, you know, I just have a lot of things on my plate right now, so this is the only time I could do it right now. So in the future, hopefully we'll be able to do it later. For example, I was going to do it later today, but the Figure Mania stream is later today, so I cannot stream later, and I wanted to get this out right away. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Enjoy it. If you're in a sunny area, enjoy the sun. If you've got a gloomy area with the rain and stuff, hey, stay inside, get some blankets, chill out. Thanks for joining the stream, everybody. Appreciate you. See you later.